The farm families that own Cabot are happy to be stuck in Vermont.
That bank is perfect for this project because it's got curved walls.
Welcome to Stuck in Vermont, brought to you by 7 Days. My name's Ava Solberger, and we are here in Vermont's state capital, Montpelier. And we are in the drum of the dome of the Vermont State House.
Yes, gold dome cycle.
Gold dome cycle.
Because when you look at this, I think visually it's not quite as interesting as the painting.
Something about the painting makes me see the details better.
For 1 year, Vermont artist Ken Leslie has been coming to the State House, climbing to its very highest point at the feet of Ceres, the statue at the top of the State House. And he has been painting the panorama view that he sees.
So then this is what I've been doing here, which is one page every 2 weeks, just following the landscape as seen from the top of the dome. There's the Motor Vehicle Bureau. And this is what I'm up to now. I have to do this page today.
Today is the last day of his 1 year project. So we thought we would tag along and climb some stairs and get really scared of heights.
I just noticed something I'd never seen before.
It's great because it's a view that's familiar to me because I've been up there lots of times, but you see it again when you see it through Ken's painting.
This is a year as seen from the top of the dome. Landing was really important just because it would have been terrible if I got to the end of this and found out I still had an empty space.
So this was 1 year ago that you did this panel.
Right.
This is your final panel that you're working on today.
You know, this is a single piece of paper. I can't decide I don't like what happened today and replace that piece of paper. And that, in a way, is liberating. And each small part doesn't mean that much, but when you get to the end of a year, they add up to something pretty interesting. Michelangelo didn't have to paint a car once. Ode to a parking garage. I don't paint from up at the top of the dome, and you'll see why. In January, it was not comfortable up there. It's icy and the wind is howling. Whereas down here, where there are these windows going all the way around the dome, it's great to paint from here. It's just that the vantage point is wrong. You set one of these cycles the way you'd set a clock. What time is it when you're facing this direction? I didn't take an art class until my last year in college, and it was like, oh my God, there's nothing else. I'm able to do what I do because I'm a professor at Johnson State, and it lets me do art. That's about what I'm really interested in. This was done in the winter in the far north of Norway where the sun doesn't rise. Once I started painting these circular landscapes, they became really interesting if I did them in the Arctic. And it gave me a real sense of where I was on the planet. So this is 24 hours in the winter in the Arctic. This one I painted at home, and it was one page every 2 weeks for a year at home. That's my house. By the end of the year, you end up back where you started. Well, it helps me remember how tiny I am and insignificant. You are too.
No! That's right, authorized personnel.
I'm glad I'm running out of times that I have to climb these steps.
From State Street to Ceres Feet is 201 stairs. I know because I walked up and down them twice.
Oh, well, Montpelier, the city of Montpelier is, of course, the smallest state capital in the United States. This is the oldest state capital in the U.S. that is still used for its original function, so it's still actively the legislative building, and that has its chambers in their original condition. You know, it might be just Vermont frugality. It's also actually the result of a major restoration project over the course of 20 years. The young people that work as pages in the State House during the legislative session, they're allowed to leave their names somewhere in the dome. And that's a long-standing tradition. Well, you can call her Ceres, and I can call her Agriculture. This is the female figure that stands on top of the dome. I'm sure everybody in Vermont is familiar with her. This is actually the second figure that has stood up on that that dome. The first figure was carved by a very well-known artist, Larkin Mead. He was actually from Brattleboro originally, and he called her agriculture. She was an allegorical figure representing agriculture. She deteriorated, and in the 1930s, in the midst of the Depression, at that time the Sergeant-at-Arms of the State House was a man named Dwight Dwinell. And he was quite the whittler, and he stepped forward and volunteered to recreate the head of agriculture. And I love the photographs because I actually think she looks a little bit more like him than the original.
And now it's a wonderful piece of folk art. And it was kind of fun to be up there with her. She and I, taking care of Montpelier. I get to go home. She doesn't.
And the Easter wind, it doesn't mean that much, but I wish it would breathe with me. And the great big sea, it doesn't mean that much, but I wish it would take me down.
You can find Ken Leslie's panoramic books on his website, and this one will be making an appearance soon. From the top of the State House, signing out. We'll get stuck out you again real soon. Now I have to climb down the steps. Scared, very scared.
Do you want me to take the camera?
I am fine. I'll put it around my neck.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna leave it on. So, what do you think? Ken Leslie's Gold Dome Cycle?
Even better.
Or just Gold Dome Cycle?
I don't know. My publicist would say, get Ken Leslie's name in there. My God.
When I was on the boat, it went so fast.
We had a great time fishing last summer.
That was the best day ever.
Become a mentor today by visiting MobiusMentors.org.